And I'm looking at dudes like, come on, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't even know you and I gotta fight you. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different type of beast in itself. Like you fighting dudes you don't even know. It's dudes that's they got down with gangs in jail for protection, where this is my culture, so I came.
Ain't got a moment when they see you down, there's no they love and all.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your host, B. Luke. I got a very special guest with me today. This interview is hard to get. Not everybody gets it besides me and NPR, man. So you had an interesting enough story to get on NPR.
For sure.
Why don't you just tell the people who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself.
You know, my oldest name's Super Cuz. The people know me, Chopper Beast, all the same thing. Jamal, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's everything straight. I represent Lynn, Massachusetts, but I grew up all over Massachusetts, Louisiana. I've been around, real group home, baby, DYS, all that. Yeah.
And you're here today. We're here to talk about it, man. So, what was the situation that landed you in the group home?
I had a mother that had 3 kids. I had a white mother that was raising, you know, kids that were mixed, biracial babies. And at that time, late 90s, early 2000s, you know, that was it wasn't taboo, but it was kind of taboo, you know what I'm saying, for people to be, you know, having mixed kids. And she went through the struggles, you know what I'm saying, as my mother, you know what I'm saying, and me being the oldest out of my siblings, you know, it was a little difficult to deal with, you know what I'm saying. I didn't have a father, you know, the typical stories, you know what I'm saying, for babies that, you know.
So for people that don't know, what's a group home like, man? Just break that down.
That right there, you see people from all different walks of life, you know what I'm saying? You see people from worse. I seen kids worse than mine, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't like to have a sob story. My shit is all about elevation, because
absolutely,
I seen some kids that had a lot worse than mine. And I always had a loving mother. My mom, she's top rank right now. I seen her get her GED to, you know, going to community college. I'm watching my little siblings in the car, you know what I'm saying? Yep. I'm 6 years old, my sister is 4, my little brother is 2, you know what I'm saying? And my mom was grinding, we were doing that.
Salute to all the moms that, you know, did what they had to do to make it work, man. Like,
my
mom had her issues, bro, drugs and all of that. But there's one thing, man, she always loved us. She never, like, neglected us. She was stealing for us. We had dope Christmases. My cousin would be like, why do Bobby and JoJo get so much? Because Robin steals, you know. I mean, that was a long time ago, but, you know, it's been many years since I was a kid getting Christmases. So for sure, salute all the moms out there.
Shout out to all the mothers. My grandmother, that's my baby too. You know who you are. My mother.
So what's one thing about a group home that, you know, people might not think about that's like a reality though? It's kind of raw. Because
before I was even in DY, my first time at DY, it was at 11 years old. For some, you know, some teachers like acting out in school, not really understanding and being physical. So that was my first every time being in DYS, and then I went to the group homes, you know what I'm saying?
So you was in DYS first?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know,
what's that like for an 11-year-old, man? By the time I went to DY, I was pretty much grown, bro. I was like 16, 17.
Hey, man, listen, it was different, you know, because since an early age, I always been around shit. I always been influenced. That's a lot of dudes, you know what I'm saying, don't understand how it is to be a product of your environment, and especially not always having a stable. My mom always moved around, you know what I'm saying? So I got a little bit over here, I got a little bit over here. So being in DYS, you with kids from Boston, you know what I'm saying, that already doing them, you know what I'm saying? So to me, I'm like, yeah, that's different, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't comprehend it. I was still trying to figure out myself, and I was only there my first time. I was there for 10 days. And then I went to a residential, then went to a group home. My mother was like, at that time, she couldn't handle, you know what I'm saying? With handling 2 kids and having her oldest son acting out, was a lot going on.
So what's the next move from the group home?
Gangbanging.
Gangbanging. Okay.
Yeah, straight like that.
Now, where are you at? Because I know you say you bounced around a lot. At this point, like, just to paint the picture, like...
To be honest, I can't even give it exact, because my mom was getting her shit together at that time, you know what I'm saying? My mom, there was a brief time we lived in Everett for a couple years, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was in Fall River. My mom moved around a lot until she got her stable environment. So me, the group homes, I knew Lynn, Fall River, you know what I'm saying? Like, and as I got older, as like a 15, 16, I was already...
You eventually get committed to DYS?
Yeah, I got committed to DYS.
What's the events that lead up to that, man? 14 years old.
Shit, my mom moved to Everett, man. That shit was like, that was Candyland, man. I'm like, yo, this shit's just like, it was so diverse and different shit going on, and I was already down that arrow. So I thought, you know what I'm saying, doing little armed robberies. That was my thing. I got a call for armed robbery at 14. Went in my mom's crib, you think I was a grown man.
Yeah,
Like they sidekicks, we was robbing sidekicks, you know what I'm saying? So that was my first initial break to DYS.
Got you. I had luck, bro. I had an armed robbery case. It was like the month before my 17th birthday, man, and I didn't realize at that point how lucky I was to.
Absolutely.
Now we talking 8 to 12 months instead of 8 to 12 years, bro.
Yeah,
so
facts.
what happened? So you get committed at 14. Are you just in there until you're 18?
Nah,
in and out. Like how's the
in and
commitment
out,
work?
A little in and out. Like I did my first, when I got committed, I did 3 months, 3 to 5. That right there sounded like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
facts. At that age, it is.
Yeah.
As far as percentage wise of your life, you know what I mean. That's a lot more time than
Absolutely.
we are now. If you're looking at percentage wise, so DYS could get wild though, man. Out of all the places I've been, man, DYS was like kind of popping the most frequent. Like it was like almost every day.
I'm gonna keep it more. I think DYS is more gangster than being upstate in prison. You know what I'm saying? Cause it wasn't no separations. You can't say you belong to this, and they can separate you. It was kind of like, you saying you that? I bump into dudes this day, and they be like, "Yo, you still on that?" Like I remember you was on that before, dudes. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know this was something that you could pick up and wake up. You know what I'm saying? And that's just being from what I was and growing up in my culture and being in Lynn. You know, my man, shout out my man Mark Beasley, he brought up like Lynn's like that's like little Cali and Cali, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is, it's baby Stockton, you feel me?
Gangland.
Yeah, everything. Like shout out to all my Asians, Cambodian, Vietnamese, all that, you feel me? Like that's my family. So growing up in the city and being back and forth and being over here, I got an idea, and then being around my families from Boston, I got a heavy, people that know me that know, shout out to all my family in Boston. Yeah, they know, like, so me being in DYS, it was kind of like, oh, you a Crip? It was like, yeah, I'm a baby face, long hair, chubby, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't going for that. So I had to learn to really get physical, and that's where the cycle builds right there. Like you gotta be tough, you gotta be the toughest.
Is that something where it's like, just address things head on, let's go get this out the way?
Yeah, hell
type of
yeah.
deal, for sure.
Hell yeah.
So what is it like now you're in and out of DYS, now you're going, when you get out, are you going to school? What's like school like?
Remember, like I told you, my first introduction to DYS was through school.
Okay.
So I've been an 80 kid, but 80, you can see I always moving. I gotta talk, like I always been a kid that couldn't stay still for very long, you know what I'm saying? And not understanding that language of math, and I taught myself how to read in DYS at 14, you know what I'm saying? So school was never my thing. I know that at an early age, like, yeah, this is not for me, you know what I'm saying? And that's where my behavioral, and then I had in-home shit going on, you know what I'm saying? That was outside my mother's control and my control.
Yeah.
School was the outlet, like a lot of people.
Absolutely, that's for sure, bro. When do you get introduced to the adult system?
I was about to age out, so they let me out 2 weeks before I aged out, because I went back to DYS. I came out a couple times in and out, and then my longest stretch I did, I believe it was 8 to 12 months, and then it kept on getting extended because I was getting involved in shit in DYS. I came home, I aged out a week before I came home. I wasn't even home 3 months, caught a pistol case.
Do you make bail, you on the streets, or you just 3 months later, now you're back?
No, I bailed out. I did a little 90 days container, you know what I'm saying? Because they used my DYS. You know how they do it. They use the DR. Hey, he's dangerous, he did this and this and that. So that's what they used. So I did the 90 days off of rep. Like, they didn't even let me bail out, you know what I'm saying? So
The dangerousness hearing and all
right
that.
off the rip. So I already knew I was public. I mean
That's crazy because they always say like that juvenile is supposed to be
Nah,
chill.
we
But
all know that. They still talk about to this day.
What ends up happening with that case, man? You out on bail, you end up...
I'm out on bail. I end up actually beating that case, and then I caught attempted murder at 7 right after. Boom, ended up beating that.
With my attempted murder, it never even went to superior court because the victim never showed up. What was your story?
That was the case right there.
Never even made it to
superior. Didn't even make it there. I mean, they were trying to, it was one of them things where somebody said they seen something. They never even, the witnesses, the victims, one victim had multiple different stories. It was kind of like, I had the record to back it up. The DR already had something going, and that's just what it is. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And this is something you fought. Did you bail out on that one too, or now you got to sit for a little bit
I sat
more serious?
I sat for a little bit. Did like probably 8 months. My first time in the Delk County, I ended up bailing out.
Okay, what county was this? This Essex?
This is Barica.
Oh, this is Middlesex County.
Yeah.
All right, what was that like for you, man? A lot of fighting, a lot of...
Hella fights, man. Because at this time, you got to think, like, I'm from a city, like, when I went to Boston, you go to Cambridge, you don't really see Crips and Bloods, you know what I'm saying? That's like, to me, it was like, That was like some, like my community, you know what I'm saying? Lynn, Low, Far River, shit like that. So when you're seeing dudes in Barrica, you seeing all these dudes, you gotta think dudes from Low go there. So you meeting dudes, I'm 17, about to be 18. And I'm not really understanding the dynamic like that, cause I'm got my homies, so I walk into a unit, it's kinda like, yeah, this is what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? You scared, I was scared to death, you know what I'm saying? But that scared, it was
how do you get through that fear, bro?
That fear.
Everybody gets fear if you don't.
Yeah, you're not a real one if you don't. You can't even keep it 100. I was 17. I ain't never seen so many Damus and so many people that was opposing Crip. And I'm looking at dudes like, come on, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't even know you and I gotta fight you. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different type of beast in itself. Like you fighting dudes you don't even know. Dudes that's they got down with gangs in jail for protection. Where this is my culture, this is where I came from.
Why do you think people do that?
It's just protection. A lot of dudes can't stand on their own, and some dudes have their own reasons. You know what I'm saying? I have dudes that genuinely seen the culture and probably want to be involved in it, and just didn't have the right dudes, and it just is a gateway for everything. You know
I think a lot of people too, man. We look for that brotherhood too.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
We look about something we could bond over and things like that, man. So you sit there. That's Middlesex County. Eventually, though, you end up where? You end up in Worcester County.
So I ended up bailing out after Barrica. That's my first time. I've been back, like I did a lot of back and forth. Matter of fact, let me run it back a little bit. So when I bailed out from that, after I did like little 5 to 7 months, whatever it was, I ended up bailing out for another. I bailed out for $10,000, and I was out on bail on another bail too. I was on a bracelet in Dorchester. My grandmother got me. And I was just young, man.
Yeah. I mean, when you get that many things open too, man, eventually things start to catch up, man. So.
And I didn't even understand it. I was so much on just, I didn't even understand the world. I had so much, now that I'm older, I can comprehend what I was going through. At that time, I was 17, about to be 18. I did my whole life in foster homes, group homes, residentials, DYS. You know what I'm saying? So it just like, I'm out on bail. I took the bracelet off and I was out.
So to you, this is just like a normal way of living. This is how it's pretty much always been, it seems like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how tough is that for someone at such a young age, man?
That's why I said, like, my shit wasn't even a sob story, because it wasn't really tough. It was kind of like, I seen my mom getting abused when I was younger, so I always felt like I wanted to be a protector. I always trained myself. Like, my mother could tell stories of me jumping in, and she feels, you know what I'm saying? She goes to her guilt with that.
Right.
With me, it always been something like, that's just, at a young age, I gotta be strong. You know what I'm saying? I gotta learn how to fight. I gotta know what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be taken advantage of, you know what I'm saying? Especially through the women in my family. I seen women get taken advantage of. So I knew off the rip that I had to protect myself and everybody that I loved around me.
Okay, now was there not a father around to make you feel like now you gotta be like the man at such a young
my father, my biological father, he did 20 years. I met my father in prison, then 9 years later I was on the same unit with him.
Wow.
That homie, this is real.
I appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you too, likewise.
I know we got some people here, man. I don't know if this is.
I gotta shout them out, man. I got my man Mark Beasy, man, from East Boston, real one. We was up in the Max, in the box. Told Cuz I'll be right back. Movie time. You know what I'm saying? I got my little crow, my twin Quest, man. Movie star, man.
Word, salute.
I told y'all he gonna be a movie star, so don't. And my man Mark Beasy, they going up, and me and my man Arthur Supreme, man. He just.
Salute,
man,
bro.
I ain't never seen a Caucasian more blacker than him, man. You know what I'm saying? But he the illest, man. That's my dog. I knew him since a baby, man. That's my doggy. You feel me? And then now, you know what I'm saying, the best, I say the best for last. Not even the best for last. I love all my mans equally, man. Loyalty makes you family. It's my brother, man, my big brother, man. Shout out to Long Beach, Compton, man. I got Cartier, man.
That's my guy.
Cash flow, man, doing these taxes.
That's my guy right there too, man.
Real
We lived next to each other for for years, bro.
Real
in each other. Yeah.
I remember when I met him, he was like, "You from Cali?" Because just the way I was coming off. Like, I'm in the all these dudes. I never seen so many white bloods, and I never heard of a vice lord in these gangs.
Word. So we about to get right into that. We're gonna take a little break, man. We're gonna get my man Cali to come over and sit down and talk a little bit about that, man. Yo, we'll be right back.